all systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What's going on, everybody? We're back talking some football. Not the same voice you usually hear right off the jump. Tambo is out, headed to Miami for a King of the Beach. So as many of you guys probably know, if you don't know, he's giving away 10% of his action, $300,000 to first place. Only 75 people out there as well. So chances, he's got second, he's got third. Chances pretty solid for Tambo, regardless, though, already 600 minimum he will be giving away. Good luck to him, but Hoop and I got you covered. Hoop, pretty good Thursday game. Not these past couple, man, it feels like some gross teams. Baltimore, Cincy, Lamar, Chase, Burrow, no Higgins. So we get the same Bengals as last week, but I'm excited for this one. How's your day going? How do you see this slate going?
Yeah, everything's going well on my end. Did some yard work this morning. So, that's always a big day for me. Got all the leaves cleaned up in the process of putting up the Christmas lights. So once we're done here, going to do those, get the rest of the lights up. So it's been a productive day. Now it's time to get back to work. It was a very successful week. What is it? Was it week 10 last week? Very successful week 10. Big wins for not only myself, but a lot of members. Our boy Dak continues to get the job done for the SHIPIT team. And I have some news on that probably next week. We've had some movement in regards to something relating to Dak. So stay tuned on that. But in regards to this game, yeah, it seems like it's been a tough stretch of just nasty games. This one definitely has some potential. And we have the Eagles and Chiefs as well this week on a primetime slate. And then Vikings Broncos. So actually it's like, I don't know, I think three pretty good island games this week. Looking forward to this one as well. The Ravens coming off a disappointing loss, and the Bengals, coming off a disappointing loss as well. So two teams that are going to be looking to get right after it. We have some, relevant fantasy options. We have some injuries. Obviously the T. Higgins thing is pretty substantial for the slate. So definitely looking forward to breaking this down and watching the game tonight. Then in regards to our guy Tambo, best of luck to him. He's at the King of the Beach event where he generously is giving away 10%. That's just awesome to see. And it's something we're all about, giving back to the community. But we do need to get the subscription numbers up on our YouTube channel in order for that giveaway to hit the full amount. So I'll post that in here after I toss it back to you, our YouTube channel, so you can get subscribed over there. A lot of good free content. All our shows are free, as we always talk about. We're not putting anything behind the paywall. Want to get this out, let everyone have the opportunity to be a part of the community, whether they're a member or not. Hopefully, you do take this information, turn it into wins, and then give us a chance at SHIPITNation.com. So again, we appreciate all the support, not only on this channel, our YouTube channel, and then our website as well. So yeah, let's dive into it. Looking forward to this game for sure.
Yeah, a lot of familiar faces in chat, but echo what you do say. If you do, or what Hoop said, if you do want to sign up at SHIPITNation.com, make sure you do use that promo code MAYO. Our monthly, 6-month, and annual package. All you can use this code MAYO. $69 a month for our monthly package. Comes out to $59 a month for our 6-month package, and then the lowest price annual package comes out to $49 a month for now. That price will be going up soon too. Use that promo code MAYO, gets you 10% off each and every package. So it's about $62 a month it takes you with that code. NFL going on, of course. NBA, shout out to our man Hebrew Cheetah, absolutely been crushing the NBA streets. A lot of success for our members. Tonight, not a great slate, only 2 games. Do have some showdown content though. NHL, I've been in the streets. Nades has been doing great content there. Projections have absolutely been on fire. Having for NHL, NBA, NFL, MMA this week. PGA was going on too. Started this morning. I was in the PGA streets a little bit too. So plenty of sports, the lowest price. Get in the Discord too. You get random stuff. Tonight, who knows? Hoop might tag everyone. First 10 people, drop your PayPal. He pays PayPal people. Done that the past couple of slates as well. So it's a great community we got going on. And Hoop, before we get into it though, what's the weather like back up there in Michigan? I'm coming back next month. I can't do it for Thanksgiving. Christmas too much. I love it here in AZ. But what's the temp by you? Because you're outside a lot. It can't be that bad, hey?
It's actually it's like 62-ish today.
Wow.
So it's a beautiful day, and it is supposed to cool off the next week. So, enjoying the last couple of days here before it turns into cold and snow. So it's taking advantage of it today, got those leaves done, getting the Christmas lights up, and then it kind of goes to shit next week, unfortunately.
And that means, it's a late winter. So that means in May, you'll still be having snow coming down or stuff like that. And I won't be missing that one bit. Before we go, captains, position by position, as always, Tweezy in here, Jeff Hicks, Alex Hahn, Nick, Sean Sullivan, Jonathan, Tokyo, Reezer in here, Patrine, Illinois fan, and Illini fan. I know it's that. But Zim, Justin in here, Jason in here, our man Marley. What's going on, Marley? Talking some MMA tomorrow. Nate's in here, Emmanuel. Grand. Appreciate everyone hanging out. Mike Spencer in here. We really do. Hit that like button. Helps us out a ton. You guys make this show go very fun as well. So we'll be going to the Run the Sim section. You'll drop your scores in later. In the meantime, Hoop, let's get into it. Let's talk some captains. And, I'm very curious to hear your approach. I think I know where you're going. Usually you're a tighter player pool guy. Pretty tight today if you want it. You got Lamar. You have Chase. You have Burrow. I think ownership will be Lamar the highest own. Then you get Chase 4%, probably a little less, like Lamar around 20, Chase somewhere around 15, Burrow maybe around 10. Then you mix in the Irwins and that of the world. I definitely will be playing Chase and Lamar. Lamar has definitely ran bad this year at the goal line. They've got out to early leads. You expect it to regress. Lamar has that rushing upside. He has pairings. I'm playing a ton of him. And then I'm definitely playing a ton of Chase. Outside of those two, I'll be mixing and matching a little bit. That's how I see it right now. Break down your captains, what you're doing.
Yeah, it is one of those slates where you could definitely go condensed if you want and just play, a few of these guys like Lamar, Chase, Burrow, I think are the three that kind of stand out. You look at any sort of projection system, like those three are in a tier of their own, and then it kind of falls off a little bit. So, yeah, I think it's very viable just to go, potentially those three, hope it's one of them, and then you're going to have more combinations to potentially get there at the end. For me, I'll definitely be playing all three of those, Lamar, Burrow, and Chase. We have cheap options on the slate to kind of make it all work too. But after those three, Joe Mixon, I don't love at 9. It just is not been. He got lucky. He got a touchdown at the end to kind of salvage his day. But
you can say lucky.
Yeah, right.
Lucky.
yeah. He was
doing what he always does. Does he not always do that? Like, I can't get there as a captain.
Yeah, I don't think I can do it as a captain. At that price, he probably needs 2 touchdowns or like a bunch of catches into touchdown. I'm not seeing him today. So for me, it's not going to be Mixon. I definitely think you can go Mark Andrews up there. When you play pass catchers, you want guys that can get 8-9 catches and have multiple touchdown upside. I think Andrews fits that category today. Tyler Boyd, I like quite a bit. He would have had the monster game last week and then just drops the wide open. It was wide open in the end zone. Easy catch. He missed it, but he would have had a monster game if he would have held on to that one. So I'm fine going to him. But that's where it kind of gets difficult for me. After it's a lot of, I'd say risky type plays. So I feel good with Lamar, Chase, Burrow, Andrews, Boyd. I think you could make the case for Zay Flowers. I don't think I'm going to go there today. Gus Edwards has the multiple touchdown upside, but it's you need the 2. You're going to need 2 touchdowns from him just because he doesn't catch it a lot. Trenton Irwin, as someone in chat was asking. Yeah, if you are going cheap, he's the guy that I would go with. And I might end up getting to him, to be honest with you. I haven't built any teams yet, and everything will be reflected in my player pool over at SHIPITNation.com. But I don't think I necessarily want to go super cheap or punt off the captain position. Lamar, Chase, Burrow, Andrews, Boyd would probably be my favorites. And again, I could end up just going tight at the top and just say, screw it, I'm just playing, 3 guys. But, I think you can add those guys to the mix. Trent Irwin would be a guy to consider when going cheap. But that's kind of it for me. I don't think I'm going anything else. I don't see it on the slate.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you. It's Chase and Lamar by a mile for me. I don't like making too many rules. When we get to the running back spot, I definitely want your takes on some of these rules. 3-headed backfield in Baltimore. But for the captain spot, if I play Burrow captain, I definitely want at least one pass catcher. Do you make rules like that? Like if the solver gives you a Burrow captain with no pass catchers, I don't want that team. I don't think you do. Are you okay with one, or would you make it two?
I'll be honest.
He's been rushing a lot recently, but
he's been taking off a little bit. I still want one though. I mean, even with even with the running quarterbacks, I typically want one. I think Lamar is like unique where he could definitely get there without anyone, but more times than not, you still, even with the running quarterbacks, you still need the one pass catcher. I don't know if I'll make the rule for Lamar. Again, there's like just a small group of guys where I'd potentially not make the rule, like Lamar. Maybe like Jalen Hurts.
Push. At the end of the day, though, you do need to fill out 5 other spots.
Exactly.
And there's so many different pricing to your like.
And I think everyone thinks, it's like, all right, the guy has to catch a touchdown in order to be the optimal flex, which is not necessarily the case. Like if he goes to Andrews for 6 for 90 and he doesn't find the end zone, you probably still need him in the flex in those Lamar captain teams. So, but with a guy like Burrow, yeah, definitely. And I'm not necessarily concerned with the number. I know some people say I want at least 2 and blah, blah, blah. If I go in and set it to say I want at least one pass catcher with Burrow, I'm going to get a lot of teams that have 1. And I'm going to get a lot of teams that have 2. It's not like all my teams are going to be just 1. So I don't force.
You'll make sure.
I'm making sure. Oh, yeah. I don't want like a Burrow naked captain team. I think that just doesn't make any sense, to be honest. So, I'll definitely make that rule. I'll include all the pass catchers. Any running back pass catcher, which in this game there's really no one, definitely no one on this. Yeah, no, I wouldn't include maybe Mixon. I don't know if I'd include it because it is important which guys you select in that pool. Yeah. Maybe I do include
Mixon, Justice Hill, maybe in certain trailing game scripts or 2 minutes. They're cheap enough too. It is Justice Hill, but like back to captains. I agree with you. I don't like cheap captains. Irwin would be my favorite by far, but I do like Irwin. Because he's still probably going to be popular in the flex, no doubt. Captain ownership will still be tougher to get to. And they're running out 3 receiver sets, 11 personnel, just with Boyd, Irwin, and Chase. Like, at the end of the day, defense focused in on Chase. We saw last week, Irwin got there early, slowed off as the game went on. But I definitely am good with Irwin captain teams. The cheapest I would go, like some people mentioned, Keaton Mitchell, which we'll touch on for the flex position. But, like, I can't get to Mitchell in the captain spot in a split there. Some people talking defenses. The Andrew shout, I think, is fine too. He definitely has that upside. I just love Lamar and Chase when I'm going up there. Final thoughts on like any of those other secondary, or is Irwin the cheapest one you'll go to? Do you think you'll end up with like just 5-6 captains?
Yeah, a couple.
You can touch on kicker too.
Yeah, that's what I was going to touch on. Like, if there was a spot, I guess this could potentially be it. Like 2, I'd say the better field goal kickers in Tucker and McPherson. And I do think it's interesting what they did today because we haven't seen this in a while. Because a lot of times, we'll get into this more when we talk to other positions. But Tucker's coming in at 5,400 and McPherson's coming in at 4K. A lot of times you just see them within a couple hundred, and then it's like, okay, whatever, I'll just play whatever kicker. But there's a $1,400 difference at kicker, which I think is pretty interesting for this slate. But in terms of in the captain spot, not seeing it today. Like I just don't see the kickers. Obviously, I'm not going to be playing the defense up there, and we know how that has gone this season so far. So I feel good with what we've already talked about. Irwin, I said maybe I probably will have him in there now that I look at it, only 4,400. Like, the game he had last week on certain, you run it a few times, like that game, he could have potentially been the optimal captain depending on how everything else played out. So I will include him most likely in there.
I like it. Let's go to the running back position. Obviously, it's really just Joe Mixon on the Bengals side, the only guy that'll be in my pool, like the Chris Evans, the Travion Williams. I guess, I don't know. We'll get to like the Drew Samples of the world. There's Tanner Hudson down here. There's enough viable cheapies. I guess Travion Williams you can leave in the pool for $200 and 150 type stuff, but it's really Mixon that's running the backfield on that side. It's way more interesting on Baltimore's side, though. Gus Edwards, he's been running so well at the goal line, which has been a lot of the reason Lamar has been very poorly. Get off the big leads, defense, special teams has got there. But Harbaugh's talking about getting Keaton Mitchell more involved. Very explosive when he's got the ball. He's done very good things. I think he's taking Justice Hill role. I think now Hill's down to number 3. By far the least interest in Justice Hill here. Keaton Mitchell's price tag, though, will keep him – ownership's going to be in check. I mean, he's going to be pretty low owned. 5,600. You actually have to do something at that price tag. He hasn't been getting the ball as much. $1,400 more is Gus, so I expect him to be higher owned. I'm buying in on the coach talk here and just the explosiveness. Pretty low owned in the flex. I'll be eating some chalk at captain. So I like Keaton Mitchell the best on the Ravens side. Gus can get there. We've seen it multiple times in the goal line. If they are trailing or something, though, Gus will definitely be the first one out, and they'll be going Keaton Mitchell and Justice Hill for pass catching. Any rules you think you'll be making in the running back room? Obviously, Mixon, we touched on it. Just a flex play for me. In 150, the larger stuff, more teams you make, I don't think it's crazy with his just how much opportunity he gets. But, man, he's just not efficient. So flex or nothing, what are you doing on Baltimore?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on the Cincy stuff. It's just Joe Mixon. I don't want to mess around with, Travion Williams, Chris Evans, any of those dudes. Like, it's not on this slate. It's just not – I don't think it's necessary. We have other cheap plays that are viable. But in terms of the Baltimore side, I definitely, if you just run the teams, you might end up with situations where all 3 of these guys potentially hit. Definitely don't want that to happen. So I think you do want some sort of rule. If you feel comfortable with 2 of them, maybe set it to 2 max. If you only want 1, I think that's viable as well. I just got to see when I run my teams, like what I'm getting with these guys. But I do want to be careful because there's only so much to go around. And you have Lamar Jackson, who's running quarterback too. So setting a rule to just 1, I think could be fine. But then you look at it like last week, it would have been, you probably would have needed Gus, and is that the game Mitchell had the big game? You would have needed both of them, right? Like they both had big games. So, maybe we just.
I learned my lesson from grouping the Roshan Johnson Foreman thing, just so tilting because we talked about it. It's when you win, how much you win. People like grouping away, and it's one game slate.
One game, crazy things can happen. Yeah. So it was 2 games ago. Mitchell got 23, and Gus Edwards got 17. If that plays out tonight, you need both those guys. Yeah. Like you need them both.
You'll need Mitchell in captain spot too, more than likely. Like that shows that he can even get in that. So it definitely can get there in the flex. Yeah. No, I like Travion Williams. Like
we've talked about on the show. So in terms of the rules, it's like, man, like the most frustrating thing you could possibly do on a showdown slate is have everything nailed in terms of the game script, in terms of your player pool. And then you look back and you're like, man, like I had all these guys. I'm way over the field on these guys. How did I not have the winning lineup? And then you go back to look at your rules. You're like, shit. Like I always say it, like you don't want to rule yourself out. You do not want to rule yourself out of winning first place. And by, setting too many rules, it can certainly happen. Crazy things happen on these showdown sites. We've seen it quarterback with 3 pass catchers, like in a 5-1 situation, like you see some crazy stuff. So I personally, try not to rule myself out of winning. Yeah. So I'll set as few rules as possible. It's one game, one damn game. Like a lot of weird things can happen in one game. Right. You're not going to get, and not all your teams are going to end up with, multiple of these running backs and stuff. So that's why I said you just look at it and kind of see.
Yeah. If I do make a rule, it'd just be max 2. Like I don't think I want Justice, Gus Edwards, and Keaton Mitchell all there. Would it happen out of a million games? Yeah, maybe a couple times, and you'd be a solo 500K winner, which is the reason to do it. But rank your favorite Baltimore guys and think just a little longer. Travion Williams, min price 200, you 150 stuff. You think you'll still have 0, but rank Baltimore mainly.
Yeah, I think let me just check on that.
Because there's Drew Sample, like when you're comparing them, Drew Sample, Chris Evans, it's not that great down there.
Yeah, I guess
but Drew Sample's excuse me. But
go ahead, yeah.
Tanner Hudson's 2,600, McPherson's 4K. Like you don't need to fully punt. Aguilar's 800. So the options are, I guess, some down there, but not great for Stoneman.
Yeah, I guess you look at the $200, $400, $800 plays. They're not great. I guess without running any teams, I'd say I'd probably just try to avoid this range as much as possible and just not have to land on $200 guys because none of them look very good. And the guys that are just a little bit above them, like the Justice Hills and the Irv Smiths and the Tanner Hudsons of the world, just seem like such better plays than those $200 guys. And I don't know if that, $2,000 in salary is going to make a huge difference. So initially just looking at this, I probably want to avoid like all those guys because it just doesn't seem like a slate where I need it. But we'll see when I go to build. So yeah, to answer the question, Trayvon Williams, like, no thanks. And then ranking the Baltimore guys, probably go. I honestly see myself probably having similar amounts of all three of these guys, just looking at the price tags. Like, Gus Edwards probably the safest. He's $7K. Keaton Mitchell at 56. I'm buying the coach stock, and he looks like the guy from Miami that was just going off A-chain, early in the season. I mean, he's explosive. And then Justice Hill is 2,800. If he finds end zone once, like you're probably good, and you probably need him. So I'll have equal amounts of both. I'll go, or all three. I'll say Mitchell, Hill, and then Edwards. I'll go Edwards last, I guess.
All right, let's get to the wide receiver position. The Cincinnati side's very easy. Again, out there, we appreciate everyone hanging out. Over 200 watching. Hit that like button for us for a second, though. Helps us out, helps Mayo out. We're using the channel. And also head over to the SHIPIT Nation YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button there. Helps us out. And we have no NBA. Only 2 games NBA today. So no NBA show. Still have cash report, core plays, projections absolutely been on fire. Showdown report, NHL there going on today. I think 8-game slate. I'll be in the streets. We got you covered there. NFL, of course, 500,000 up top. PGA going on. MMA this week. It's the best time of year, man. Thanksgiving next week. Short.
The nice thing about showing off our SHIPIT Nation YouTube channel is your face doesn't get cut off anymore with the 2-man booth.
Yep. Exactly. Hit that link right there, and then you can hit the subscribe button. Going live on that channel multiple times a week. Let's talk the receivers. The Bengals side's really easy. I know the number 4, the guy that I cannot pronounce his name one bit, Iosa, whatever it is, he's out. Like the Charlie Jones might be. We have to see if he's going to be activated, but it sounds like he's probably going to – this Charlie Jones guy who's on IR will be activated, slide into the number 4. I don't know. It's a couple snaps. Another guy way down there. Can guess leave in your pool. That's people out there, 150 max mainly, though. But it's really Chase, Boyd, Irwin. I like all of them. They're going to run a ton of routes. Bengals drop back a ton. I don't love Mixon that much. No strong takes here. I'll have plenty of them. I love chasing the captain spot. You can play all 3 of them with Burrow. No hot take at receiver there. Baltimore side's more interesting. Zay's the clear number 1, so he's my clear favorite, even at that price tag. Has that upside, and all these guys I think have ran, especially Zay, a little bad with early 14-0 leads, running the football more, get to the goal line. Gus takes it all. So Zay is by far my favorite. Then you get the Batemans and the OBJs mixing in. Duvernay or Aguilar. Duvernay's questionable. I don't think you can give me an update on him. I don't know for sure if he'll play. Aguilar would get a big bump if Duvernay is not active, though. But all those guys, Bateman, OBJ, Aguilar, if Duvernay's active, I'm coin flipping them around. If they land on my team's fine. But I just definitely like Zay, definitely like the Bengals guys way more than taking shots on them. But you can't build lineups and not have any of these guys. It's Russian roulette for me. How do you see it?
Yeah, so I pretty much agree with you. Like the Cincinnati guy, every single Cincinnati guy is way more stable than every single Baltimore guy in terms of wide receiver. They're going to be higher owned. I'm fine with all that. Like, it's just such a good situation. You saw it last week. It's very rare for 3 wide receivers to all get there fantasy wise. And that's essentially what happened last week. Now, Boyd got there in overtime, but he still had a decent game.
You can say 4. Tanner Hudson got there.
Hudson as well. Yeah. So it's just a rare situation. Well, why? Well, they're dropping back and passing a ton. Their running back is wildly inefficient, Joe Mixon. I mean, he can't get anywhere. Is it his fault or the offensive line? I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs of football that well, but it's been the same case for 2 years now with Joe Mixon. He just can't get anywhere. It seems like when there is a big hole, he doesn't hit it quick enough. And if, the defenders are on him, he can't break a tackle. He just gets nowhere. So they're just passing it a ton. And we saw it last week. Yeah, 4 pass catchers, like you said, essentially get there. I mean, they all got there in terms of what you want out of them for fantasy purposes. I think, considering price, my favorite is probably Tyler Boyd, honestly, because, he could have had a much better game than he did, even prior to overtime. He had another pretty big drop that would have gone for, I don't know, probably 30 yards if I recall correctly, and then, missed the easy one in the end zone. I just feel like, he's the one that benefits the most with Higgins out. Yeah, Chase is going to get there. He's fine. Irwin, as a cheap play is fine. But when you look at everything, I think Boyd's probably my favorite. Zay Flowers, definitely the safest. I mean, clear number one on Baltimore. After him, it's kind of like a crapshoot. So like the rest of those guys, I prefer probably on Lamar captain teams. You're mixing in guys like Bateman, Odell, which, yeah, I'm definitely going to play Odell on those Lamar captain teams. Aguilar, throw him in the mix, probably the most stable guy under 1,000, which seems crazy, but, he's 800. His projection is much better. And he has a role. I mean, it's not a great role, but he has a role in this offense. So fine with him at 800. But it's the Cincinnati guys, I think, all in a tier of their own. I'd take all those guys over Zay Flowers. And then it's Zay Flowers in tier 2. And then tier 3 for me is all those other pass catchers for the Ravens. And they're just such better plays on Lamar captain teams versus anything else. And yeah, I mean, I'm going to play those guys on other captain teams, but to me, that's where they're most valuable, Lamar captain teams.
Yeah, and I'm going to be monitoring the Duvernay. He's questionable. I'm still seeing Charlie Jones if he's activated, because if Charlie Jones isn't activated, then Stanley Morgan I feel way better about. And again, this is just those $200 dudes, the Travion Williams. Let's just say it is all Lamar, Andrews, Chase, and you just need 2 catches from these min-price guys. They will be in my pool in larger field stuff. The wide receiver 4, whether it is Stanley Morgan, Charlie Jones if he's activated, something like that. Any coach speak or more clarification there. I think wide receiver 4 on Bengals at mid-price should be there.
And I get stuff like this for sure. Yes, I understand that the Ravens defense is better than the Texans, but there's 10 games on the Sunday main slate. We're talking about one game here. We can't – that's the one thing I think people overthink with Showdown. They try to break down the matchups way too much and try to really just get into the weeds with stuff. You just can't be picky. We have one game. We have
so much random shit happens in football, too. So much.
I mean, I'm not shitting on this guy, but I'm saying, don't have this sort of mindset when you're thinking of Showdown, just because it's one game. And like you said, random things pop up and happen in these games. I get the matchup stuff. I get all that, but you just can't be this picky when considering players.
Yeah. No, Sean B's always in here. So, yeah, talking on that, that's why I kind of hesitated. I'll say it now, though. 2 injuries. It's on the defensive side, or Marlon Humphrey on the Baltimore side. So Chase gets the biggest upgrade there. If you are looking into matchups, I would expect Humphrey probably is shadowed. Jamar Chase, the secondary is still good on the Ravens side. And then Ronnie Stanley, one of the best offensive line on Baltimore's side, is out too. So if we're talking about injuries, do with that as you will. It's not really changing what I'm doing, though. But I agree with you. The only difference I would have is I would throw Zay with those 3 Bengals guys, just because I do think he's by far number 1, and everyone else is 2A, 2B, whatever it is. So we're same page there at the receiver position. Before we go tight end, kickers, defenses, I should have brought it up in the beginning a little bit, but so we have 46.5 total. Baltimore favored by 3.5. But when you're looking at roster construction, I'm thinking 3-3 and even 4-2 Bengals will be more popular, which you don't see every day as the underdog team. But when you dive into it more, it makes a lot of sense. We just talked about it. Running back room, 3 guys to worry about on Baltimore, just really mixing. Receiver room, 3 clear guys on Cincy, a lot of unknowns in the receiver room outside of Zay Flowers. So while it is more unknowns, I still like the idea of going 4-2 Baltimore, 5-1 Baltimore, hoping you do get the right running back. It is a Bateman, OBJ, whatever it may be, but it's not often you get the favorites that are being played less than the other team. So what's your general thoughts on the roster construction aspect before we keep it
going? I agree. Very clear. I mean, the plays on the Cincinnati side are much more clear than the plays on the Ravens side. So 4-2s, 4-2 in favor of Baltimore, or in favor of Cincinnati. 4-2 in favor of Cincinnati is going to be the second most popular. I think the natural 3-3 will be the most popular. I think 4-2 in favor of Cincy will be the second most. And like you said, Baltimore's favorite in this game. So you typically see it the other way, but it's just the nature. Really, it's the wide receivers. When you look at it, we just talked about it. The wide receiver plays in Cincinnati are so damn clear. And the running back plays too. We don't love Mixon, but he's much more of a clear play than the Baltimore guys. They're using 3 guys where Cincinnati's using 1 guy. So, the breakdown, I think, 3-3 and then 4-2 in favor of Cincinnati. So, the natural pivot off that is 4 Baltimore, 2 Cincinnati, or I'm fine with like 5-1s too on either side. I don't know if I'd want 5. I would not want 5-1 in favor of Baltimore. I'd be fine with 5-1 in favor of Cincinnati, 5-1 in favor of Baltimore. I just don't know if there's enough offense to go around for that team.
I think you'd really just hope they dominate early, time of possession, run the football down their throat, take the air out of the game, the under hits, and just chase goes 8 or 9 for 100 or something. But like you said, I mean, it's going to be 2% owned by the field or something, 1%. So I'm with you, though. Yeah. You do need the nut game. But when 5-1 Ravens wins, you are very live for 500K, which is a lot harder for 3-3. But let's keep it moving in the tight end position. Because it's just the opposite as we talked about, running back and receiver. It's way more clear on the Baltimore side. You got Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews somehow gets hurt or whatever happens, likely is obviously the guy there, but it's more unknown on the Cincy side because there's 3 guys that are definitely in play. Tanner Hudson, Drew Sample, Irv Smith. Sample's all the way at $400, Irv $3K, Hudson $2,600. I think ownership will probably be Tanner Hudson number 1. He's looked the best. In his snaps so far, probably Irv and then Sample is how I'm seeing it. But I do think all of them probably pretty low owned. Hudson, I'd feel way more confident will be the highest owned. It feels like he should be higher owned than he's probably going to come in at, though. It's one of those like Ronnie Bell situations a month and a half ago, Hoop, where he came in like 11% as a clear receiver 3 with injuries. When Hudson's on the field, Burrow looks at him. I know he's a preseason monster. I don't know. I like him, and I'll be overweight. And touch on captain. If I had to punt anyone, he would be the one, but I'm not sure we need it. But touch tight ends, what you're doing on the Cincy side mainly.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, though. Yeah, I mean, he definitely seems like the random dude below. I mean, we both said Irwin's kind of the lowest we're looking. Like, if you wanted to go even lower, yeah, I think it would be him, or maybe even Irv Smith. I think there's a path for Irv Smith to get there, but Hudson's been getting more work. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, we already talked about Mark Andrews, very clear play. Multiple touchdown upside. He would really benefit from like a close game or a game where Cincinnati's playing with the lead. So any sort of game script you're building with Cincinnati winning or playing with the lead, I think Mark Andrews fits in that equation very, very well. Now the 8,800 price tag, it's up there. I mean, he's got to do quite a bit, and he definitely has it. But he I think he needs close game or Cincinnati ahead to fully pay off. Obviously, good fit in Lamar captain teams. And then Hudson, Irv Smith, again, we've seen it a lot this season. These really cheap, I mean, these guys are, 26 and 3K. They just never get like the full throttle ownership. So I'm with you. I'm going to try to be overweight on a guy like Hudson and even Irv Smith. And then I think of all the cheap guys, I mean, it might be Sample as the one I like the most. I mean, he continues to get solid work. When he's out there, like he's getting targeted. He had 3 targets last week, 4 targets the week before. So now that I'm kind of looking at this, he might be my favorite down there. And again, it fits well with Burrow captain teams for sure. And that's probably it. Like Isaiah Likely, I don't think I'll necessarily get there. Like I don't see it with him. So it's like the 3 Cincy guys. Like them all. To me, like Hudson and Irv Smith, just very similar. I don't know like who I prefer between those two. I will have both of them. So
if you don't know, just go Irv. 4,400 or 400.
You think the ownership difference will be that?
No, not like that. I don't think it's going to be 2x or anything like that. But I think it'll maybe a little wide than industry projected right now. And I mean, recency by. Everyone just keeps talking Hudson because when he's on the field, the first possession, I swear Burrow threw the ball to him like 4 times in a row. It was just Hudson.
Yeah, he's got.
I was just saying if you don't
7 targets the last 2.
If you don't have a lean, go that way. But I don't think it's enough. I do have a lean in it being Hudson, but I like all of them. Like I don't know, but if you don't have a lean, take the lower own the $400 more. Game theory wise, it totally makes sense. Yeah. You can play both though. Like if someone asked that question, I'm not grouping away any tight ends.
No, I'm with you.
Even 3 of them would be it's not the 3 of them would be easier to see tight ends get there on Cincy than Baltimore running backs because of the prices and just if they get to the goal line, you get some BS stuff and Sample doesn't need a lot at 400, but that's a rare roster construction. Let's go kickers and D's though. Before we go, we'll do the run the sim section. So we'll have scores dropped in pretty soon. Again, 250 watching. Appreciate everyone out there. good luck tonight. NHL action, PGA's going on right now, NFL, NBA, MMA coming up. And there's a lot of money to be made, no doubt about that. We can help you at that at SHIPITNation.com. Get in the Discord, of course, if you do join and use that promo code MAYO. Get you 10% off. Monthly, $69 a month. 6-month package comes out to $59 a month. Annual package comes out to $49 a month before that 10% off as well. So make sure, use that code MAYO. Hope everybody out there having a good day so far. Let's get to kickers. Let's get to defenses. You mentioned it, the big price difference of McPherson and Tucker. I'm still not sure that's going to keep. I think kickers will be pretty, like those two, I think they'll be similarly owned. Everyone loves the name with Tucker, but that 1,400 people will like. So I think that kind of cancels each other out. I'm a little nervous about both teams that can go. They'll go for it, especially the Bengals more so. So that's a little worry with these kickers. Then you look at the defense side. I think ownership will be in check. Bengals will be much lower than the Ravens. How do you see them, I guess, against like the tight ends, the Irwins, other people priced in their range?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of matching up the defenses versus like the tight ends and skill position players, I mean, I'm gonna carry on. I mean, it's obviously the defenses have had a massive advantage so far in Showdown. If you're someone that typically plays defenses heavy, probably have had a pretty good Showdown season. There's no denying it. I mean, these defenses have continued to get there. And, I'll have probably some exposure to both just because I don't think I want to go super cheap today like we talked about. But I'm just not going to be getting over the field on defenses. Every projection site with ownership, they've come in light, like almost every single slate so far in terms of the ownership. Like the ownership is always more than what the projected ownership is showing. So I think we probably see it again today, even on these games where we could see some scoring and the total's 46, 47. The field loves playing defense. And I think it's like I haven't talked about this much, but I think it's like a mental thing. I honestly think people love when the game starts, they're able to open up the app and see that I'm not even joking. I think people like that. Like that could be a crazy
thing. MMA. No, you see
right?
People
they stack the
fights in MMA. The first three.
Yes, I'm telling you, like I think it is a mental thing with not a ton of people, but like if there's 5 or 7% of people that have that mindset, it's like, man, I want to be able to open up the app and I'm going to send this text to my boys saying that I'm winning 25,000. Right? I'm telling you, like I think it's a thing, and that's why these defenses are. The ownership is up there. So for me, it's always opposite. Like if I open up the app, DraftKings, when the slate starts, I'm down everything because I'm always underweight on the defenses. But I really think some people like opening up that app, and we're already seeing it. Like some of the comments, people are like, yeah, I like that feeling, which I get. So
I mean, 117,000 people in that big field thing. Definitely some people out there who might be onto something a little bit. I'm with you though.
You see it in every sport though. There's certain guys in the NBA streets that they stack the first game of the night, like no matter what, and they're winning the big bucks, and it's the same people that do it. So again, with defense, I'll do what I typically do. I'll probably will have some tonight, just because I want to avoid that super low tier as much as possible. Kickers, we talked about the $1,400 difference, which is substantial, and I don't know if I've ever seen this big of a price difference between two kickers. But like you said, it's not going to do much for ownership because Justin Tucker is the guy that people just love. Justin Tucker. But the one thing I think that's interesting when you play these kickers, like that $1,400, you could have two completely different builds. A lot of times when you're playing a kicker, it doesn't matter which kicker you plug in there, you're going to have the same sort of build. With 1,400, you could have some different stuff mixed in there. But I like the kickers tonight a little bit. Like, yes, these are aggressive offenses, but these are two kickers that they're legitimate kickers, not just random dudes. These guys have been in the league. They can make deep ones. So, yeah, I want some kickers. And, that's it. Defense, like I said, it's going to be the same thing. I'll put a number in there and kind of whatever I get.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't love any of them. Like I like Keaton Mitchell more in the range. I like Trent Irwin more in the range. Bateman and OBJ are mixed in there. I kind of like Bateman a little bit more, just taking shots at the upside. With both kickers, they both got legs for sure, but both teams can go for it. The game script can get out of control. One of these two teams do jump ahead, they have to go for it, and the kickers die there. And Burrow's been getting the ball out of his hand pretty quick. Lamar does use his legs, but he can't avoid sacks. So yeah, not much. If they hit some of my teams, they hit some of my teams, but I won't be that much overweight. Let's touch a little FanDuel, then we'll go run the Sims. So people, you can start dropping in your scores. We were pretty close. What was it, 24-21? We had Broncos or something last week, and it was 24-22. So we'll see that. But Hoop will talk on some FanDuel. You start dropping some scores in the chat. We'll get to that after. My question to you, Hoop, is, I mean, MVP is even more of a bigger question with you don't have to pay anything for your salary. There's only 5 spots. It's very chalky over there, hard to get difference. I don't really play tournaments over there, but if I did, most slates, I think I would just go all in on a couple captains, whether that's like the chalky ones or just mix and match a bunch of lower owned ones and hope to hit. Today, that clearly would be Burrow, Chase, Lamar and Burrow. The quarterback's always higher on there. If you had to go all in on them or fade them and mix in the Irwins, the Boyds of the world, Andrews, what approach would you take and then break down the whole slate?
Yeah, I'm leaning towards going very condensed over on FanDuel. It's just like, man, it just feels so likely that it's Lamar, Burrow, or Chase. Like, who could you make the case for? You really need 2 touchdowns. Someone
Boyd,
that can go out there.
Andrews, Irwin are the running backs. Mixon's a better MVP play over there for sure. All of that.
But it's even like if you want to play Gus Edwards, all right, so he's kind of overpriced. Like, he could have 2 touchdowns and still not like be the optimal MVP. I mean, that's the thing that scares me a little bit, just because it could be just 2 very short touchdowns and then he only gets like 30, 40 yards. So I don't know.
He did outscore. If you look at it though, if like the past 4 games, like there's definitely pass. Like I like Gus even more at MVP because Lamar 11, 15, you didn't get there because if Gus falls in the box twice, you'd expect probably someone on the Bengals side is more likely to get there than Lamar, but you are right. Point. He definitely can't. Like, he leverages off. I would like Gus way more on FanDuel MVP than on DK with how much leverage he offers.
Yeah. And I think the price at $12K is one where a lot of people will avoid it. Like Joe Mixon's 12.5, Mark Andrews 13. Like, he's up there with Mixon and Andrews, who are probably number 4 and 5 in terms of who people are going to play in that MVP spot. So yeah, that stands out, but yeah, the ownership is going to be lower. Boyd at 10K, think's a great price tag. Flowers at 10.5. I think that's a very nice price tag. Defenses and kickers, Tucker 9K, McPherson 85, Bengals D8. See, they've been doing this. They start like FanDuel. Do you realize like they start at 9,500 and they have one of the kickers or defenses, and they drop down another 5. One of the other kickers, all the way down to like 8K. So that's what you have here again tonight.
And they're always so owned.
Like, they're
going to be so owned.
Yeah, people love that range, and the ownership is going to be high on all those guys. To be honest, the way this slate's shaping up, Keaton Mitchell at 8,500, that's up there, kind of. You want, I think, more of a value price tag on him. Trenton Irwin at 75, I imagine, gets a lot of ownership. 7,500, Trenton Irwin. It's cheap. So I think a lot of people do play him. In terms of full punts, kind of similar over on DK, where I just don't really want any of these guys. Aguilar at 6K, maybe. Favorite cheap plays, definitely going to be Hudson at 7K flat, or Irv Smith at 7K. Do want to avoid the lower range, though, for sure.
Bateman's down there at 6.5, Aguilar 6K. Justice Hill 7K, the Irv Smiths, yeah. I think going the stars and scrubs build, avoiding the kicker defenses who will be more popular there. Irwin, good price tag, is a little interesting. But of course, if you're playing on FanDuel, if you are playing, which like it's not often, Gus Edwards, Boyd, Irwin outscore those guys at MVP, which is I totally could see Hoop, or if I played it, just locking in the 3 main guys. But when you are doing that, you got to mix in some lower owned people, leave some salary, because it's way harder. It's already hard on DK to get different. It's even harder on FanDuel. Yeah. But let's talk some run the Sims. Then we'll get on out of here. We'll do 2 scores, 2 of each. We'll start with Nate D here at 24-17 Bengals. Then we'll go to a Ravens one after. I'll let you pick that. But I like this.
Bengals. All right. Let's see. Turn the pro mode off. Standard run the Sims. Our leader, Tambo's not with us today, so we'll see how this goes. And hopefully I don't have to check my internet speed here if we get caught up, because it says I'm on the bench right now waiting to run simulations. I don't want to be on the bench. I want to be in the game.
You might want to be certain bench.
Yeah, yes, correct. But apparently Tambo has a better internet speed than I do because this seems like a much slower process. All right, there we go. We're live now.
There we go.
All right. In this game, let's see things that kind of stand out. I mean, it looks pretty straightforward. So this is liking, so it wants Lamar Jackson and Burrow, about right around 70%. Captain rate, 19 for Lamar. It's asking for 15 for Burrow and then 18 for Chase. The one guy that it does like here, which makes sense, is Mixon, because they're winning basically by a touchdown and lower than the total in this game. So that makes sense. Boyd as a negative hurts a little bit because I do like Boyd. Really low on Zay Flowers, which I think that makes sense. They only score 17 points here. Zay Flowers at 76. Keaton Mitchell it likes. Justin Tucker is a positive. Gus Edwards is a negative play. Totally makes sense to me.
Hudson a little negative. So what I'm saying, obviously it makes sense. Bingle or Mixon at captain for sure with this game script, and also he's going to be, because his price is close enough to the Lamar's, Burrows, and Chase of the world. He projects a lot worse. Like he's going to be squeezed in that range, so it does make sense for sure to be up there. And the Irwin, Boyd, Zay Flowers. I mean, we touched on them. We like them. I like them a lot. We like them because they're going to be on the field running all the routes. The Bengals drop back a ton, but ownership up here, you can see they got Irwin way up, Flowers at 39, Boyd 45. So it's just taking the lower on plays. It likes Andrews a lot at captain, which is interesting. He is projected only 4% there, so 10%. That's interesting. The script that they are losing.
Trailing script, maybe passing a little bit more, but it is interesting that Zay Flowers takes the big hit there. So in those sort of games, maybe middle of the field, get the ball to Andrews. Maybe that's what it's thinking here.
Kickers, defenses too. They don't like Ravens at all. Obviously makes sense in a script like this, but Bengals, positive leverage, McPherson, Justin Tucker there, Keaton Mitchell, and it didn't like Gus. So I do like that. I had not a strong lead on Mitchell over Gus, but I like playing into coach speak, and Gus can definitely be priced out. In a script like this, there's no way Gus. Let's pick a Bengals. I'll let you pick a Bengals score, but I'm interested to see what Mitchell Gus does, and then what Mixon and these other popular Bengals receivers, how that changes things.
Whoops. All right, let's see if I can get back again. We're missing our. There we go. All right, we're back in action. Got to choose the proper slate here. There we are.
It's tough out there.
It's tough, man. It is tough. When Tambo's gone, the wheels are falling off. All right, so let's go high scoring in favor of Cincinnati.
Go Cincy again. Then we'll go one Bengals.
Oh wait. Yeah, let's just flip this here. How about that? Let's do 20 because I wanted to see high scoring, and I forgot we did Bengals last time. So we'll go 27-31. So very high scoring in favor of the Bengals. We're going to turn off the pro mode and we'll let it rip here and see what we get.
Hey, let me get the right. There we go. 31.
Perfect. We're back on the bench. Not the bench we want to be on, though.
Not the bench. The bench Mixon should be on. Maybe it's a Travion Williams game.
Man, how much is he? $200?
$200.
Yeah.
Sample him, the wide receiver 4. Duvernay status. We can maybe find some down there. So Lamar, that makes me feel a lot better. Still no Boyd. No Boyd love. Chase, not much. Still likes Mixon. What's your
Sean D was right on Boyd. Tough matchup.
Yep.
Keaton Mitchell. That's the one I don't get though. Like for some reason, so it's showing 40%. Like in a high scoring game, a guy that's going to be on the field basically every offensive snap. Like I find it hard to believe that Trenton Irwin, isn't a guy you need in this sort of game script.
Yeah, just saying. I mean, all right, 31-17. I was going to say kickers or defenses in that range. That score is not giving them a big boost. Scroll down a little bit. I guess it likes the Aguilars, the OBJs, the Hills.
Likes your boy.
Keaton Mitchell, yeah. It does like him a lot.
Keaton Mitchell.
Gus Edwards. Go down to Gus.
Where's the bus? Gus. Here he is. Yeah. So he's a little bit of a negative there.
Yeah, -6. It's like in those really cheap, or not the really cheap, but the low owned guy, like the OBJs. Where's Bateman in this too? because he's in the kicker. He might be even up there.
There he is right here. Yeah, he's like about 18%.
The more we talk about it, a lot of this I think has people are going to go Burrow, Chase, Lamar, by far the most popular captains, could make up 55% of the field, something like that. Yeah. Then you need to go. People are going to go the Irwins. The kickers' defenses won't be too high on, but the Irwins, the Samples, or the Hudsons of the world, one of these cheap guys down there. What's your final thoughts when looking at it? To be honest, running this stuff, it didn't change my mind. It won't change my approach too much on what I'm doing tonight, but I do like how it likes Mitchell a lot. I don't love how it didn't love the Boyds, the Irwins, the Zay Flowers, but give me the knowns. Give me the guys that'll be on the field running routes.
And that's really what Run the Sims kind of told us, to be honest with you, is like, man, those we just did 2 games, two scores, but it likes the big dogs. It likes the quarterbacks. It likes Chase. It likes Mixon. Like it's like one of those games. They are who we thought they are type thing. Like, those are the guys you'd expect to show up here. And that's what we're seeing when we ran the simulations.
Yep. Final thoughts on this game. I'm excited for it. Real life. Got 2 NBA games. Prize pool still solid. It's a nice Thursday night.
Yeah, it's a good game to kick off the week. And, as always, we've been talking about it for it seems like a month and a half about the momentum building, and we've had some massive, massive wins. This kicks off week 11. All our content will be up nice and early so you guys can get in there, start building your teams, digest it, come to the Discord. We'll be in there answering your questions up to lock. So, after the show, I'm going to start digging in a little deeper. I'll have my stuff up. I know Tambo already has his stuff up as he's traveling today to Miami for the King of the Beach. And, everything else won't be too long before everything else is up. And, looking forward to week 11 kicking off. Got a nice MMA card this weekend on Saturday. Starts nice and early, which I personally like. And then, big showdown games all throughout the week. So I think we're going to have a solid week 11, and it all starts tonight.
Yeah, you bet. PGA Showdown. We got some NHL going on, projections for all the sports. Use that promo code Mayo. Monthly, $69 a month. Annual comes out to, or 6 month comes out to $59 a month. Annual comes out to $49 a month before using that code Mayo. And if you do join, make sure to get in the Discord too. So many goods in there. And a lot of winners have been produced. So again, shout out to our man, Hebrew Cheetah, though, the NBA streets, so many screenshots in there, a lot of members having success. Only 2 games today. We do have showdown content Monday through Friday, though. Prize pool is big there. More people will be in the streets as usual. So head over to SHIPITNation.com. Good luck tonight, everybody. Looking to see some SHIPIT Nation logos up top. Good luck to yourself, Hoop. Stay on the heater. Good luck to Tambo this weekend. We will see you Sunday on the Mayo Media Network for Hoop. I'm Titletown, no Tambo, but good luck to him. Have a good one, everybody.